your facilitation repertoire. I know when you first start as a process facilitator, there's so many skills to learn, and often you focus on tools. I want to give you a little bit of a timeline of the journey that I took, and we want to remind you of a handout we have for free called the 9 Stages of Becoming an Excellent Facilitator. But basically, I would say that something that really informed my facilitation practice was that I was already a meditator and a yoga practitioner. And this has been really important for me to be present, to really practice the quality of presence with all my facilitation. And I continue that, and I still study it, and I go on retreats every year. The big thing that I started out with, and I'm just so glad I found it because it's culturally competent, it's world-class training, it's very in tune with neuroscience, is the Technology of Participation Methods and Approach from the Institute of Cultural Affairs, and I did a 3-year program with that. I realized that one of the pieces that I wanted to dig in deeper early on in the 1990s was conflict resolution. I took a lot of different training, and eventually towards the year 2002, nonviolent communication continued my practice and study of that with Dr. Marshall Rosenberg. Neuroscience of learning. Basically, it was called accelerated learning in those days. These days, it's called neuroscience, and it's extremely important to help groups really get the best product that you possibly can using techniques to really tap into the richness of our productive brains. So that study has been continuing, but started back in the late 1990s. Cross-cultural communication became really important to me because I realized that was something that I was lacking in. As a white person growing up in North America, I had certain lack of diversity, lack of understanding of how to work with people who have different perspectives and different backgrounds from myself. And so that was incredibly helpful. I did that for many years with Luna Jimenez seminars. Facilitation design then became really important to me. I really began to sense the complexity of a really well done agenda. When it's smooth, I was inputting my technology participation model. I was thinking about the neuroscience of learning. I was thinking about presence and cross-cultural communication, but there's this whole structure that I couldn't quite figure out around design. So I really started exploring that a lot and continued to work with colleagues who could help me with that. Eunice Shanklin was a great mentor for me in this. Virtual platforms became incredibly important to me. I realized that I did not want to continue damaging the environment. So if I could sometimes help the environment by not traveling so much or not taking my car or accessing an international community virtually, that was really important to me. And so I began with Adobe Connect, but I've certainly taken on a lot of different platforms since then. And every year there's some fantastic ones that are coming out. We have a bunch of blogs on that. Theory U was really something I discovered late in life in 2015, but I've been continued to be intrigued by that, and I probably will grow a little bit more. Otto Scharmer began that, and he does a lot of free global online trainings and has just about to publish a book, which I had the pleasure of editing, being one of the reviewers. Creative training techniques, I took that recently again, picking up my neuroscience of learning, just wanted to come back to that, and since I'm teaching more, I wanted to really see what I'm missing and what I was not up to date on. What am I going to do in 2020 and in the next few years? I think I still want to think about culture change because the world really needs to know how to change fast and in a way that's appropriate and productive. Technology still fascinates me, using the virtual platforms, and how can we use technology to help people really share their ideas together in a collaborative fashion. And finally, conflict just keeps coming up, and I know I need to keep working at it and get better at it, and racial justice is really important to me. So that's my evolution of how do I expand my facilitation repertoire. I'd love to know what yours is.